So you're thinking about moving to Midlothian, Virginia, but you want to know the good, the bad, the yin, the yang, the pros and the cons of living in Midlothian, Virginia. And that's what we're going to be covering in this video, because we get questions like this all the time from folks like you who are moving to the area but just want to know where they need to live. Should it be north or south of the James River? Should it be in the city of Richmond itself? Should it be in one of the surrounding counties like Henrico, Hanover, Chesterfield, New Kent, Goochland, Powhatan? We have this discussion all the time with clients, and we just thought it would be a good time to talk about it on this video. If you stick around until the end, I'll share with you one of the best kept secrets about Midlothian, and we're going to get to it right now. If this is your first time at a channel and you want to know everything there is about living in Richmond, Virginia and the surrounding counties of Hanover, Henrico, Chesterfield, New Kent, Goochland, and Powhatan, then subscribe below and tap the notifications bell so you can be the first to know about the current market in Richmond, Virginia. My name is Scott Durnley with Joyner Fine Properties. My team and I get calls every day from people like you to help make their move to Richmond, Virginia, and we absolutely love it. Whether you're moving in 9 days or 90, shoot us a text, send us an email, give us a call, all in the information that's below so we can help you make a smooth move to Richmond, Virginia. So as I mentioned, today we're talking about Midlothian, Virginia. Midlothian is just south of the James River in the northwest corridor of Chesterfield County. It has a population of around 70,000. It's a fairly large geographic area, and it takes up 3 zip codes: 23112, 23113, and 23114. That would get me to one of my first pros of living in Midlothian, Virginia. It's just a really good central location. If you're working in the short pump area, like Innsbrook or at the Capital One or CarMax campuses off of 288, then it's super easy to access from the Robius Road corridor or anywhere really in Midlothian, as long as you're fairly close to 288. Now, if you're a little farther south in Midlothian around the Hull Street area, that may take a little longer to get to those areas for work. Now, depending on where you live in Midlothian, you may need to hit a toll road if you're commuting downtown. Obviously, that could be seen as a con. If you're in the Robius corridor or northern Midlothian, you can jump on 288 and take it through Henrico to connect to I-64 East and get to downtown that way. Or you could also get on Chippenham Parkway and take that to the downtown expressway. But if you're farther south in Midlothian, you will most likely end up on the Powhite Parkway, which would take you to the downtown expressway to get to downtown. That does have a toll. Now, these tolls are not that much, but if you're doing it every day, twice a day, that can add up over time. So depending on where you're working and if you're trying to look to avoid tolls, that could have an effect on your decision on where you might want to purchase your property within Midlothian. Another pro of living in Midlothian is there are lots of shopping options. Probably the most central shopping center if you live in Midlothian would be the Chesterfield Town Center. It has 2 major department stores, JCPenney's and Macy's, along with many specialty stores like Barnes & Noble, Victoria's Secret, Bath & Body Works, Kirkland's. There's also a TJ Maxx and a Home Goods for folks that are looking for little knickknacks around the house. Those are great options. There's Old Navy, there's Champ Sports, there's Foot Locker. Lots of restaurants in and around the town center as well. So that's a great shopping option. Another great shopping location for Midlothian is the Stony Point Fashion Park. That was opened several years ago. That's more of your outdoor mall concept. Whereas the Chesterfield Town Center, the stores are indoors. Stony Point has Dillard's, Saks Fifth Avenue, Brighton, Brooks Brothers, Restoration Hardware, which I know is a big favorite for folks doing things around the house, Pandora, Talbot's, Vineyard Vines. Lots of great stores at Stony Point, as well as restaurants as well. You've got P.F. Chang's and Fleming's, which are 2 fantastic restaurants. As well as a new seafood restaurant, Latitudes, that just opened at the Stony Point Fashion Park. Weirdly enough, depending on where you live in Midlothian, The Short Pump Town Center, as long as you live close to 288 and you can hop on 288 fairly quickly, you can get the Short Pump and the Short Pump the Short Pump Mall in a very quick time. Actually, from where I live in Midlothian, I can get to the Short Pump Mall in the same time it takes me to get to Stony Point. So if you do live close to 288 and can hop over to Short Pump, I'm getting these mixed up. They're Stony Point Short Pump sound too dang similar. You can have tons of shopping options at Short Pump. Major department stores are Dillard's and Macy's. You've got the big old Dick's Sporting Goods for everything sporting related you need. There's Orvis, there's Kate Spade, there's the Apple Store. Everybody needs an Apple Store these days. Tommy Bahama, Saxon Shoes, Crate and Barrel, Williams-Sonoma, Pottery Barn. Several jewelry stores. There's Peloton if you want to get your fitness on. The LL Bean store, which is one of my personal favorites over there. J. Crew and Taylor, you name it, that shopping center has it. Also, like with most shopping centers, there's tons and tons and tons of dining options there. So, weirdly enough, a pro of living in Midlothian, if you're close to 288, would be your ability to get to the Short Pump Town Center. All right, now we're going to get into a little more number-related talk. So, the third pro of living in Midlothian, Virginia is, on average, you get more for your money in Midlothian versus Western Henrico or Short Pump. I ran some numbers and I'm going to share them with you now. In Short Pump, your average 4-bedroom, 2.5 bath home averages $480,000 and has an average year built of 1986. In Midlothian, your average 4-bedroom, 2.5 bath house averages $430,000 with an average year built of 1994. So, you get $50,000 more house on average in Midlothian and 6 years average newer in Midlothian. So that $50,000 equates to 12% less. So that money can go a long ways for you. So that's definitely something to consider as a pro of living in Midlothian when you're comparing Midlothian to Western Henrico Short Pump. Another huge bonus of living in Midlothian, Virginia are the schools. According to niche.com, greatschools.org, and other of these rating websites, Midlothian has some of the best schools in the area. There are some also great private school options as well if you want to go that route. But I would recommend digging into some of these rating websites and typing in the zip codes 23112, 23113, and 23114 to look at the various stats, because it's hard for me to know the metrics by which you may define a good school. Is it teacher to student ratio? Is it diversity of the student body? Is it scores on standardized proficiency tests? Those all might have a different weighting in your decision on a school. This way, if you go to these websites, you can see what's a good fit for you and your family. But overall, I feel like you will be very pleased with the schools in Midlothian, Virginia. All right, we're rolling down our list of pros of living in Midlothian, Virginia. Number 5 is new construction. There are just going to be more new construction options in Midlothian versus Short Pump, Western Henrico. And if you do go to the Short Pump or Western Henrico, many of those options are in very close proximity to Interstate 64, which is never a bonus. Highway noise is just nothing you can ever get rid of. There are better options in Midlothian with neighborhoods like Tarrington, which is a beautiful community right on the James River that has actually access to the river, which is a fantastic bonus. You have Halsey, which is an absolute showstopper, which has been voted many years in a row as one of the best planned communities in all of America. And there's so many more. Roundtree, Magnolia Green, Harper's Mill, Newmarket. There are just many, many great new construction options in Midlothian. So I'll actually be doing some videos on some of these neighborhoods specifically. Definitely one on Halsey, definitely one on Harper's Mill, definitely one on Tarrington. These are neighborhoods that just have enough to offer that they deserve a video of their own. So look for these coming up soon, and I'm sure I'll do some of the other ones like Magnolia Green. That is also one not to forget about. That has a golf course built around it. It's just a wonderful, really nice planned community with tons of amenities. So look for those videos coming soon. But Midlothian has many new construction options for you. All right, it's time to dive into a few of the cons of living in Midlothian. We got into some numbers earlier talking about your average house price for a 4-bedroom, 2.5 bath house. So we're going to look at some numbers again. Here we're going to talk about property taxes. With the exception of the city of Richmond, Chesterfield will have the highest property tax rate of any of the surrounding counties. We check in Chesterfield at 93 cents per 100 of assessed value. Short Pump or Henrico, if you're comparing to Short Pump, which is in Henrico County, that will have an assessed value of 85 cents per 100. So let's break this down into some numbers. If you were buying a $500,000 house in Chesterfield, you would have annual taxes of $4,650, which translates to $388 a month. If you were buying this same $500,000 house in Short Pump or Western Henrico, you would have annual taxes of $4,250, which translates into $354 a month. So essentially our taxes in Chesterfield, when you're comparing them head to head to Short Pump, because a lot of folks look at these as two competing options, Midlothian will have 9% higher taxes. So it's something to think about, but hey, nothing beats the city of Richmond. They're at 1.2 for per 100 for your property tax rate. So they'll by far be the highest. So even compared to the city of Richmond, Chesterfield is still looking pretty good. Another possible con of living in Midlothian would be entertainment. Now, I'm not saying Midlothian has no entertainment options. There are definitely some. There's definitely actually a good amount, but things in and around the city of Richmond, it will just have more. Around the city, you have an area called Scott's Addition, which has really blossomed lately. It is now a hub for things like microbreweries. Richmond itself is actually getting very well known on the national scale in the microbrewing space. And some of these have really great entertainment options. Yesterday, on the way home from work yesterday, I stopped by Mainline Brewing. They had what they called the Hippie Happy Hour. It was from 4 to 6:30, and they had a great band playing and lots of people gathering in an outdoor space. It was just a fun place to stop, in the city and grab a beverage on my way home. The city also has things like the Flying Squirrels, which is our Major League AA team. They're a really fun franchise. They do a lot of great events. So while there's a lot of cons of living in the city, entertainment is not one of them. You have great new things like Tang and Biscuit. Where would you think you could go have drinks and play shuffleboard indoor? There's River City Roll, which is similar to Tang and Biscuit, but it's an indoor bowling alley with a great bar facility, and they have bands and entertainment there at a bowling alley. It's a really cool scene. Then Richmond just opened a facility called the Park at RVA. This is a new $8 million, 55,000 square feet entertainment venue. It has duck pin bowling, virtual and mini golf. There's a food hall with 30 restaurants, a beer garden, a concert venue, a karaoke room, and a comedy club. Just so many options. You also have things like Top Golf and the Drive Shack. Again, I'm not saying Midlothian has no entertainment options. There's plenty to do on this side. It's just there's a little bit more as you get closer to the city. And a lot of it, again, depending on where you live in Midlothian, it's really not hard to get there to go to those items. It's just there's a little bit of travel time involved. As I mentioned before, Midlothian is a fairly large geographical area. So that brings me to another potential con of Midlothian. Not every part of Midlothian is convenient to a major highway. Highway 288 runs along the perimeter of the area. There are many parts of Midlothian where you may travel for miles just to get to the highway, and then your commute really just begins from there. Definitely take some time to check out your potential commute from where you may want to live in Midlothian. This dovetails nicely into my last con of living in 288, which is the 288 congestion at rush hour. Now, this is not California-style gridlock by any means, but you can slow down to 15 miles or so, or maybe even a dead stop, at 3 major intersections. The first is Patterson, or Route 6. The second is Midlothian Turnpike, or the Route 60 exit. And the third is the Whole Street Road, which is the Route 360 exit. As I mentioned, depending on where you're coming from, you may laugh at this congestion, and depending on where you work, you may be traveling in the opposite direction of the slowdowns, which usually happen northbound in the mornings and southbound in the evenings. So this really may not be a detriment or a con for you at all, but it's definitely something to think about when you're deciding where to live in Midlothian. Well, that's it for the pros and cons of living in Midlothian, Virginia. I hope you enjoyed it and found there to be some good information in here. These are the types of things we talk through with clients when they're deciding where to land in the greater Richmond area. Overall, I believe you cannot go wrong with Midlothian, Virginia, and it's a great alternative to Western Henrico or Short Pump, but it has to be right for you and your family. If you'd like to talk about this more, give us a call, shoot us a text, send us an email, all in the description below, and we hope to see you around town.